Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the
Five
Dota
seconds
Asia
remaining.
Championships 2015, where we got a disgustingly big $2.2 million prize pool and growing.
TongFu's
And we got
turn
some
to
of the
pick.
best Dota you'll ever see on this planet, from
Invictus
teams matching
Gaming's
up
turn
across
to
the
pick.
globe. And, well, we're not going to be traveling too far for this matchup, at least between TongFu and Invictus Gaming, our fourth wave for a long day of 9 best of ones. But I'm not going at it alone over here on BTS2. It's me, KotLGuy, but I'm going to be joined remotely from a good friend now. We've kicked Mod out, and we brought in Blaze. David, how you doing, buddy?
Doing really well, man. Excited to
Seconds.
check
10
out these
seconds
matches. I've
remaining.
been up for about an hour now and just watching tons of
5
awesome
seconds
Dota here at
remaining.
DAC. Saw some really cool matchups. Obviously, that kind of CIS El Clasico going
Reserve
down, and that
time.
was fun. But TongFu versus IG, this is going to be a pretty interesting best of one. Now, historically, IG have just absolutely dominated TongFu's current roster. They've been able to take them
Invictus
down
Gaming's
almost
turn
every
to
single
pick.
time, but you got to put in the almost. This is a best of one, and in their last matchup, they did go even, draw 1-1. So when you look at the potential of players like LPC and what they can pull out with this Wisp, you got to say that TongFu have a good shot here. I mean, they're already drafting very mindfully, knowing that the Batrider is a very valued pick between the two teams. I expected that to be banned or picked phase one, and indeed it is. And now they
10
got the
seconds
IO. It's just,
remaining.
what do they pair it with? What do they really put on the battlefield? Do they bring out the
5
Bristleback that we've been
seconds
seeing a lot
remaining.
very recently in kind of an aggro duel sense? Do they bring in other heroes that you compare with it?
Reserve
We obviously
time.
have, say, Morphling and things like that work pretty well. It's a very versatile hero, and when you try to just put
TongFu's
your
turn
foot
to
forward there
pick.
with this kind of IO bristle. Although
Oh
you
yeah,
do show your
TongFu's
strategy very
turn to
directly,
ban.
it's a brute force tactic. You can do so much work giving that bristleback just this a massive amount of effective HP.
that's the thing. I mean, it's ridiculous how good that makes someone like Wisp, where you prioritize getting it early or maybe sneaking it through with
10
through the ban
seconds
phase. But when
remaining.
you get it early, you're pretty much going to be showing what your game plan is,
5
because then they usually
5
prioritize maybe
seconds
grabbing something
remaining.
like the Tiny thereafter. In this case, they do get Brizzle, who is a great candidate,
Reserve
of course,
time.
to work with the Wisp. And just to kind of echo further on TongFu itself, I mean, this is a team coming into this, you don't want to sleep on. They came in with the best record through their very, very tough early qualifier run and have definitely earned their invite. But hey, earlier tonight we saw them actually fall short to Rave, or actually give credit to Rave. They looked really good. So there's been a lot of upsets already happening, and yeah, those best of ones, man. You don't have the time to adjust and figure out a team's playstyle and really what they've been doing all
Invictus
this while
Gaming's turn
practicing.
to
And
ban.
that's when you take a lot of losses, and in a big show like this, you can't afford a lot of them. So now going through the second
TongFu's
wave of
turn to
bans here,
ban.
they get rid of that Vengeful Spear on the side of TongFu, bouncing it back to IG. After already banning out the two red-faced fiends, the Axe and Troll, they ban out the pesky little Slark here. So now, looking into the next bans, we got to see what we want to build around
10
already having the
seconds
structure
remaining.
of this Wisp and IO and how you want to take it from here. First thing that pops in my
5
mind, though, is
seconds
maybe
remaining.
a secondary support on IG of getting a Witch Doctor. I feel like he's a nice solid counter to the Wisp.
Yeah,
Reserve
has a lot of
time.
potential there with the casters bouncing back and forth. There are ways to mitigate that, but
Invictus
pre-blink dagger, you're
Gaming's
probably just going to
turn
be
to
eating a
ban.
lot of stuns that you don't want to, and that can be very frustrating. I find it interesting that they actually banned out the Slark here, because although Slark is a very popular pick for TongFu, they've never run it with the Bristleback. It's one or the other, generally speaking, and putting them both in the same
10
draft would
seconds
seem,
remaining.
I don't know, a little flimsy. Obviously, it's good against the Lion. The fact that you can break through the
5
Hex and the
seconds
Earthspike
remaining.
pretty well with your Dark Pact is very valuable
Invictus
indeed. But
Gaming's
yeah, they're
turn to
still,
pick.
they are acting like this Bristleback is kind of going to be doing his own thing. I really think that LPC is going to kind of hug him tight and keep close to him. I think that they're going to be buddy-buddy for majority of this game, and banning out the Tiny as well as the Slark implies that they expect a dual lane mid that is of a different sort.
Yeah, this it is curious to see. The first time I saw
10
when a
seconds
team put all their
remaining.
chips into a Wisp and a Bristleback was Alliance.
5
It's
seconds
rattling my brain. I
remaining.
believe it was Summit 2 qualifiers, and they had already been so down, and at this point they were actually already
Reserve
out.
time.
But they showed real potential in this tag team. So we'll see. And now a Morphling going to get picked up here
TongFu's
from
turn to
IG.
pick.
Obviously it's more than likely going to be the more core Morphling. But I got to tell you, man, the new craze that support Morphling is actually really ridiculous. Sometimes it can catch you off guard, and you're dealing with a 5-second stun with like a 10-second cooldown, and the hero's already hard enough to kill, and he's got the mobility with waveform. If you replicate a strong hero like Bristleback, why not, right? But We'll see.
Yeah,
10
I
seconds
think that
remaining.
it's just strong enough to be viable. When you first see it, it seems like it's blatantly
5
overpowered, but I
seconds
think it's very
remaining.
manageable. You're committing a full hero for essentially no damage. I think you can do maybe 400 damage with
Reserve
the
time.
Morphling for the entire team fight, but you do get that heavy disable, and couple that with the Lion, that is a lot of stun to come out.
Yeah,
But yeah, I still am leaning more towards that core Morphling. I
of
think there's
course.
a bit more value in that pickup, but you never know. We'll have to see as the draft progresses if they want to consider that one there. Though the one thing I do like, if they do want to go that route, is that the Lion can kind of stand on his own in the laning phase. Morphling does nothing for like the first 4 or 5 levels if he's support, but Lion does so much that it might make up for it if they do try for some shenanigans here. But TongFu, they've got the defensive relocate. They've got a couple of other tools to try to deal with this. We'll see how they want to progress. The IO Bristle is kind of just a bread and butter type draft for a lot of different teams, and will allow you to get on the front line very early, disrupt the carries farm, so on and so forth. But from there, you want your initiation. You get the hook as well as the cogs to set up your relocates, making sure they're guaranteed damage. But once everybody's caught in that little tiny box, it's going to be shooting fish in a barrel as Lich throws out the Chain Frost. And similar to what you were talking about with the paralyzing cask, this can be very problematic for some Wisp players.
Yeah, it's like you're going to have to break the bond, buddies. Otherwise, you're going to be eating a lot of unnecessary damage if caught outright. But Lich also is there to help out with a bit of a extra sustain power, of course, with that Frost armor. And it's not like there's any sort of direct counter to any channeling spells, so it's okay. But Clockwork Grab, I agree. Great initiator. You know, one of the best at being able to do something like that. His lockdown capabilities with Battery Assault could prove to be a bit troublesome for someone like Morphling, even though he's already a tough cookie to crack. I did see yesterday during the wild card, it was a team that utilized more of a Nyx Assassin. Again, it was Cheshire Cat, and he played a really good offlane Nyx Assassin. I think it actually started in the mid lane, but he did the job of stalking and setting up those relocate setups, and it worked out really well. It wasn't something we'd seen in a long time, and I'm just curious to see how Clockwork's going to really look to find those opportunities for his potential relocates. I need more substance, I feel.
Yeah, maybe they could go something like a Skywrath Mage here. They need some silence, in my mind, to be able to control the Juggernaut and the Morphling a little bit. Like, if you don't silence the Juggernaut, he's just going to spin TP from anything but the hook shot, actually. And then the Morphling, of course, is very reliant on just getting those spells out very quickly, and even basic stuns won't be enough because he'll be able to strength morph out. So the two options are either just to overwhelm him with pure damage, or to be able to silence him out. So that last support, I think, should be the Skywrath, but anything with a good hard disable would do them a lot of good. So for now, the Wisp is the lowly support. The IG will get an opportunity to 5th ban. I mean, I've seen Clockwork support do something, but not enough in this situation. So Shadow Fiend's going to be their 4th pick here, giving them some really good lanes. I think that's going to be a really important aspect. Although Lich and Lion generally are heroes that win out the laning phase, this TongFu laning draft really looks strong. So transitioning into the early mid game, I think that they actually might be able to put their best foot forward.
I really like the minus armor synergy they do have there. It's really good with the goo and the aura. It certainly helps out your dire side, so it helps with Roche, and that all works very nice.
TongFu's turn to ban.
I can take this moment to explore into my lore book, if you don't mind, Blaze. Just while we have the hero here, because we already see plenty of Shadow Fiend. This is my 3rd time already seeing him today. Did you know that Shadow Demon tried to take over the world once until Doom and Shadow Fiend joined forces to stop him, undoing centuries of prep work? Man, that's unfortunate. So that's a little bit of that Dota lore. Can any of you nerds really love that stuff? I love to fit those little tidbits. I guess I don't have a lot of edge here, Blaze, all right? I don't have a BTS studio, all right? I got to get something. So
nice.
I'll take that.
Well, the lore works out, yeah. It's pretty sweet. Like, I think you can make an anime about that. Just getting those kinds of
Dota movie.
Awesome characters, and you just put subtitles for all the demonic language. If somebody really try hard at that for like a month, I bet they could put out some awesome video content, actually using like the demonic voice lines and stuff like that. But well, we'll see. Shadow Fiend, he's a pretty big badass, but also very vulnerable. I mean, you get Finger of Death, you get Hexed, and I could see him going down pretty quickly. He's actually very susceptible to being dropped down. Do you think this is a mech game? Well, actually, I wouldn't say, I wouldn't even question it being a mech game, but for who? The Shadow Fiend, the IO, the Bristleback all have picked up the mech in the past. Before the nerf, Clockwork did too, but post-nerf, it seems a little bit too mana-intensive, and they're up against the Necrophos, so what they have to do is prioritize putting the mech on a hero that isn't going to get scythed. because you need the other person to be the medic by their side, healing them during that ulti to make sure that they don't get dropped down by that ultimate at the very least. If you get down to 1 HP and then you die after, at least you're not eating the extra 30-second death timer.
So now we're going to be waiting here. TongFu, they want to round out their lineup. Already seeing this. Necrophos looking to bounce back with what I'd imagine being their secondary support. If we're talking about mechs, I'm just going to take an opportunity. Fun tidbit. IG have bottom mech 13 times and have a 7-6 win rate with it. 8 of the mech pickups have been on their Viper, but no Viper this game. And it looks like your secondary, maybe potential support, is going to be a Zeus. So favoring the extra bit of burst here. Blaze, thoughts on Zeus as the final pickup here for TongFu?
I think it would be really good if the Morphling was support, but unless that Lich is core, I don't think that's happening. So I like the reason I say that is Static Field is actually a good counter. One of the 2 or 3 counters I would say to support Morphling because you have so much strength. But yeah, Ferrari's running it. It's going to be Agi-based Morphling, and the Zeus, it adds in damage, it adds in good visuals. Like you actually can scout out the enemy with your Thunder God's Wrath, and you will be able to see smoke gangs coming, that kind of thing. But overall, unless they're like being dropped down very, very quickly to this Bristleback, I really don't see where they're going to have their kind of controlled damage. Like, they can have sporadically Shadow Fiend doing crazy amounts of burst damage and things of that nature, but I guess they just want to bring people down quickly. Like, if they jump in, Clockwork hooks onto a Morphling, and then you get the relocate on him, and then you get the Thunder God's Wrath, all that damage coming out, he might not be able to morph quickly enough. So I think it's really about catching people off guard and ramping up the damage really, really early in the fights. And that, of course, will enable them to get some kill momentum that they desperately need if they're going to take this game, because this isn't a IG draft that you can play 40, 50 minutes into the game against, because they just have such good cores. The Necrophos is a game-winning hero. The Ferrari Morphling has been tried and true, and yeah, this is actually going to be a really difficult game for TongFu.
Yeah, we'll see here as both teams looking to now scout out the top bounty rune. I've noticed that with these new runes, you kind of sometimes need to pause on any sort of introductions, just because at any moment things will break out, and that's when you get your quick first bloods. And they even pull and invest a smoke into this kind of opportunity where maybe, just maybe,
30 seconds
they can catch TongFu maybe out of position here trying to go for a rune. But the only closest one nearby is Clockwork here. They're actually going to go up.
Oh,
Pops.
yeah, it's broken.
Clockwork's too far away. This smoke is probably going to amount to nothing for any sort of desperate first blood attempt, and they see it.
Oh.
They pull back. Gotta be careful here. They already leveled tether, so they will have the extra move speed if necessary, but it looks like IG just kind of zoning more TongFu all the way and away from this bounty rune for themselves, and TongFu will get the one on the bottom. So
yeah, that's the big thing. LPC getting the bounty rune on bottom will allow them to get the bottom immediately, and that will give that bottom lane so much more presence. So yeah, in this position, U9's just gonna kind of try to participate as best he can in the mid lane, just get his early souls up. Maybe the Wisp will help him out for a level or two and then make his way down bottom, but I think the Wisp is going to be swapping between the mid and the bottom lane, especially once he sees where Chuan is participating. But yeah, Ferrari, he actually judged his matchup pretty interestingly here. Started the Magic Stick just in case he was up against the Zeus, and it's not bad against Shadow Raises either. And then he, as soon as he sees the actual matchup against the Shadow Fiend, he actually swaps over about 4 more stats over to Agi from Strength, and he still has that Magic Stick for some good survivability, and brings in the Wraithband from the Courier.
yeah, he should be fine. I don't think this is going to be an easy Morphling to take down. It would take one heck of an upper hand advantage, or maybe a misplaced waveform or over-aggression, which, hey, of all the dual lane setups, Wisp is one of those that where you think you got a hold of the mid laner and he's about to go down, the Wisp flying in and out from the darkness with a full set of regen, and then the fight turns around in your face. But they're going to match duel on duel here as they get the presence of Chesbug. Playing your Lich, by the way, he'll get the extra bit of damage in with that nuke, and now it's going to be a little bit of the taste of your own medicine coming out from IG.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that Cheesebug actually didn't start Sacrifice here. Maybe thought that there was some more First Blood potential with the Frost Blast, but usually you don't skill a skill until you're going to cast it. And taking one extra creep away from U9's Necromastery buildup would be really substantial. You pull back the wave, you control the creep equilibrium, and you just deny. But we'll see it coming out level 2 at least, and he'll probably go with the next creep wave here. Either way, U9's going to be able to pick up 2 Necromastery stacks with his Shadow Raises, and with the help of the Wisp, we have a pretty active 2 versus 2, and Bristol's pretty happy also, because he actually gets mostly a 1v1 matchup, while the Lion just kind of jungles.
With that, they're going to look to scout out 2-minute rune, and Lion There first, Juan even commits the stun fork, gets one more
Still
attack
gets it.
in. And no, he actually does snag it up. All right, instantly uses it and walks away. Interestingly enough, so absolutely works out perfectly there for Wisp to walk away with that one. But yeah, Bristol's getting a fair amount in the bottom lane as far as XP. He's 3-1 for his CS. And checking in on top lane here, June doing the solo off-lane jug has lost a lot as far as CS goes. He's shortly thereafter level 2. So it might be a slow start here for your June juggernaut.
Yeah. So it's interesting. Shinkyu is being the core, and Kabu is that support clockwork. It's not one that we see very often, but if he hits level 6, he's still going to actually be able to lend his hand in terms of initiation. That's the big thing, is getting the hookshot to set up relocate Thunder Gods, and they're going to be getting kills. And Clockwork doesn't need to do much more than that. He's buying space against the Juggernaut here. It's a matchup you never see. Off-lane Juggernaut versus support Clock. But a couple of cogs here and there actually almost knocking him into the river. And he is losing out a little bit on his mana pool. So he's being harassed a bit, being controlled a bit. And it's giving Shinku a free lane. 15 last hits already. He is going to have a very early set of items here. We'll see what he actually progresses towards. In the meantime, yeah, I mean, Io getting the runes twice over, really good for him. I think Chuan had the stun on that Invis rune, so he could have picked it, but just didn't click the rune itself in time. And yeah, Io is pretty happy, just kind of doing his thing, playing the battle medic. LPC, Mr. Lukiel, however you want to call him, he likes to play these heal-oriented heroes. He plays a lot of Omni Knight, Abaddon, a little bit of Dazzle, Enchantress. Like, he likes to make sure that he can play reactively, play defensively as necessary, and the fact that he can respond to whichever lane needs him the most, in this case the bottom, he wants to go for a play.
Yeah, it's the kind of play style I enjoy personally, so I can definitely relate to that. Just reach a point where you just enjoy being a little bit more selfless as he waits back in behind here, maybe being an opportunity where Bristle could turn him around. The stack of the quills right there. He loves those long fights, and well, no one's literally biting the bait quite yet, but as they do approach this 4-minute rune, we could see a potential skirmish.
Oh.
Juan goes back, and now he sees trouble. No early goo coming out quite yet.
There it is.
Yeah.
As soon as one goo connects, he's almost dead. Like, he doesn't have a TP, so he needs rotations. The Morphling will come in, though, and just barely getting under his tower.
Okay, he will make it back, but he's persistent. He wants the quills. He's getting the heal. Oh, he needed one more. Early Boulder to come out, but the Wisp really focus fired, and he goes down. Here comes Shadow Fiend dishing out damage, and finally Chris is able to get one of those kills and even things up 1v1 in the mid lane. So, touch of commitment issues right there, and a bit out of position for the Wisp allows Morphling to get that nice snag.
And it's good that IG have that focus. Killing the Wisp is going to be the most important thing this game for every single fight. You kill the Wisp early, the Bristleback, he's not that scary. I mean, he still is a Bristleback, he still loves to persist through the fight, as you were mentioning, but he just doesn't do as much when he doesn't have that overcharge, when he doesn't have that extra tether slow and a movement speed increase. He's actually going to go on Luo here. He does not have level 6 yet. One creep away from level 6. He could have turned this, but instead, he's taking a lot of damage here. Magic Stick is up. It will help, but is it going to be enough here? The last right click is not going to finish him off. Just a little too tanky with that tread swap Magic Stick, and he does make his way home.
Very nicely done. Steps back. Things could have gone very differently had that one creep dropped, and we got one more quill spray as well, so a little close. Puts him back in a way, but here we go. Aggressive movement coming out. Chuan and Lich here. Scoot U9 all the way back and away, and we'll scout out some stacks happening here, which is really not a surprise. Probably expecting it sooner with like the Wisp. You see, same with the Tiny. Shadow Fiend is easily going to be able to farm them up, but they scout it out and even plant the ward. And TongFu probably are aware. Going in with a ward and coming out without one kind of gives you an idea that there's probably something dropped somewhere.
Still, hard area to contest until the Zeus wants to get involved. Right now, he's just kind of sitting, resting on his laurels, going Soul Ring, Arcanes. He's going to have tons of mana to work with in these future fights, but if they bring the fight to him, they might be able to bring him down quickly enough that he doesn't get more than one lightning bolt off in the fight, and that's a game changer there. They have this awesome ward behind the tower now. They just placed that one, and they could find an opportunity in Kabu here.
Kabu maybe. To go, yeah. On to Zeus with that stun setup. They get the nuke. Kabu's trying to get there quick enough to maybe dish out a cog or something, but it's too late. Zeus will go down. Chuan very low, but the healing ward comes on through, and June's there to help him on out. Now Kabu has to walk away forward, though. Ferrari looks for the kill, but look who it is. It's going to be Wisp coming on in. Will help out. Now the Zeus starts piling on to Ferrari. Already committed. The waveform needs 2 more seconds. Pop away the cogs. Remove the mana, but he gets it back with the magic stick, and he will waveform right into a healing ward and into a bottle. He will live. Chuan rather sets the zone into the stun. Very nicely done right there.
Yep. And the two that don't have to rotate for these fights here are the Shadow Fiend as well as the Necrophos. And in this position, getting Necrophos just a little bit of early durability, maybe a Blink Dagger for mobility, that kind of build-up is going to be huge for him. But he's trading hits pretty heavily with the Zeus here. TongFu wants him one Lightning Bolt away from the kill, but the Magic Stick is there. He doesn't want to get baited in.
Back on mid lane. Shadow Fiend 33 and 7, trying to build up. He already got his power treads here. On your other side, Ferrari 31 and 6, but he's still getting the help here from Lich for the meantime. So he's trying to control the lane a lot more. They're happy to take.
Oh, and CQ might die again. Yeah, he's dead.
Oh man, there is the stun. It's going to connect. One sets it up. And now moving forward, they have the Reaper cycle. They want it. They'll drop it, but he's good. The healing power coming out from Wisp. That tether looks funky, but funky or not, it got the job done. Zeus will live on, and that's a good rotation from your support. Meanwhile, Juggernaut is going to get the swift kill, taking out Clockwork with his first Omni Slash at the same time.
Yep, Tin-Man battle plan doesn't work out for him. He's only got 3 armor, so that Omni Slash certainly does a lot of damage. And yeah, it's really this Wisp play that's keeping TongFu in the game right now. Unfortunately, not as dominant in the lanes as they would have wanted to be, but they're still surviving. They're not giving Necrophos free kills. They're forcing a lot of rotation from IG. It just makes it so that TongFu at least have a good chance of getting together for the mid game. They're almost into I want to say they're almost into relocate territory, but LPC, 8.5 minutes in, is only halfway through level 3. He's just spent so much time rotating that he hasn't actually been able to find a home of his own to get some experience.
It's going to be a pretty delayed relocate kind of game, so he's got to find the time to spend a little bit of that me time. But for now, he's just playing very selfless, allowing his cores to fill a little bit more freely when they farm it about. Kabu now with the Haste Rune, heading right towards the bottom lane. Looks like he wants to get a hold of some solo farm to get that level 6 and that hook shot underway. Chuan's nearby, almost about level 5. They're eyeballing it a bit, but they probably wouldn't be able to get secure kill, at least without that weak side, which Lua seems to be quite a ways off. He needs the mana, he needs the cooldown. So we'll see. Probably going to be a bit of a calm right here.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about this really low-level IO. I mean, he's 82 experience per minute in this game. He could at least be leeching from the Zeus as far as the experience that he's accumulating jungling right now with some good stacks and Arc Lightning play, but he's just going to go for a pull of his own and some risky territory. No Omni Slash to come through, so June's just here to leech, but that's taking away valuable experience income from the Wisp, and you know, a level 3 Wisp at this stage of the game could just be nuked down so very quickly, even though Chuan does not yet have the finger.
They want to go on the assault, though. They smoke up. They check one side if the smoke doesn't pop, and now they hide behind June here. He's got 10 more seconds and just short on mana before he'll be able to pull out the Omni Slash here, but they're looking for a nice setup. Wisp is here, though. Still no relocate, kind of a save, but they know he's here, and they want to go right for the ball.
Oh, boy.
Nope, they turn back instead. They'll pick up the Bristle, and, well, they'll try to heal him up, but this time I don't think it's going to be enough. They will finish off that Bristle. You know it's going to be the exchange kill right there with the burst coming through, the rotation coming in from the Zeus. Nicely done there for TongFu to at least get something themselves.
Yeah, although the Bristleback is technically higher farm priority than the Juggernaut, if you actually look at net worth, Juggernaut's doing better. And the heroes that actually got the experience from those exchanges, Wisp just jumped up suddenly to level 5. He was level 3.5 a minute ago, so suddenly just witnessing the demise of the Juggernaut there with the help of the Zeus, that's actually enough to put him back on the map. I actually think that was pretty favorable for TongFu just for that reason alone. Now the bottle swap, this has happened twice now. LPC, as soon as somebody TPs in nearby him, he puts his bottle in their inventory slot and they refill it through the fountain regen mechanics. So that's the second time he's gotten a freebie on the bottle refill, and he's just going to be staying very active and continuous threat on the map. In the mid lane, almost an attempt on U9's life, but he's playing it safe as he builds up that mechanism.
He'll walk away and be A-okay. They almost scouted out this ward behind the tower. He lightning strike just above and just before. He put it just below, so they're not going to quite scout it out, and they'll clear their way. But that was a long-winded gank attempt coming out from both supports on IG that they couldn't really follow through with. So now they have to step back. They'll need Chuan to get that finger now if they want to be able to secure some of these gank attempts with that added mid burst. Bottom lane, June is going to rotate away from that top and come down here for a little bit of a time to farm. He's got the bracers to go right to the top, though. That's where they consider the dive. There's the new bring down. Necro down already a bit on mana, has to heal up a bit. But it looks like TongFu immediately pull away.
Yeah, there's still a lot of rotation potential from IG. Just quick TP, and these ultis will start flying. We see down bottom that they're already diving onto KotLGuy. Nice cogs coming out though. He'll embed himself in the tree line and has the hook shot onto June if he wants it.
He has no mana because he hit those cogs, and now he's in trouble, and they jump onto him. So he couldn't even get out at least an ultimate, and it's TongFu who do that quick rotation in, and it certainly pays off. Now IG, well, they'll scout out this invis route here for Ferrari, but that's another good grab for TongFu, and this was a prominent start from IG coming into this one, and this is certainly helping TongFu out come right back as they will begin to go into the mid-game period. This is when the relocates start building up, and the global presence already with the Zeus. This could be TongFu's time to really get some nice kills, but I say that, and Wisp is in trouble top lane. They're making the dive for him. He pulls out the spirit balls, will try to dash behind him. One's in big trouble. Finger flies out. He's good, but the Reaper side, he's fine. The mechanism! The mech comes through and saves him from the Shadow Fiend. Very nicely done. Oh, man.
It's the worst feeling in the world as a Necrophos. Just the second that you're about to get an easy kill, someone gets healed up like crazy. Witch Doctor is really good at it, but I was talking about in the draft, this mechanism coming out, and it's the target that doesn't get scythed is the one you want to have the mech, so you can use it to heal him right back up during that ultimate kind of delay. And that's a really big deal there. They're going to put pressure out on the top lane as the Wisp has survived, and yeah, overall just feel a lot better about themselves. Now, this does give some free hit time for Lua to keep farming. He did pick up a Force Staff, which is really good against Relocate and the Cogs, but it looks like it is just going to be a defensive Relocate. Can you actually channel your Requiem when you're on the rebound here? I'm not too sure, but either way, they're being stalked up for close proximity, and they're going to fight it.
All right, there they go, back into it. He will pop off that Requiem, but the Omni Slash has already gone out, and will they annihilate the Wisp in exchange for Swan. And now KotLGuy goes toe-to-toe with Lich, but all the meanwhile, you see Jugs able to finish off that Shadow Fiend, so TongFu maybe second-guessing this commitment back into the fight. Now it should be KotLGuy's able to walk away with that Cogs, and June kind of dances here with the Bristleback, but they walk away. So both teams suffer a couple of losses, but the gold favor only slightly in the favor of IG.
Yeah, that Chain Frost actually did a ton of work there, bouncing all over the place, hitting hero after hero, and that actually changed the fight for them. That Lich pick is really solid here, and yeah, they tried to go for a cool play with KotLGuy, kind of laying the groundwork there, breaking up the fight with a cog or two, and that allows them to dish out the damage, but in the end they only pick up supports, and TongFu, although the kill score is even, the fact that they are not scaling as hard in the mid to late game, and the fact that they're not getting kills on the more valuable heroes, it makes it feel a lot more... I don't know, they have a lot more impetus to make things happen now. Like, they have to make sure that every Relocate makes kills happen. They have to make sure that they're just starting the fight on their terms, because as it is, IG are just happy to drag this one out and to take the game in about 30-40 minutes.
In any case where it feels like they break even after a fight, that's still a win, I'd imagine, for IG. And you gotta, they committed 2 ultimates to try to take out that Wisp previously, so they took that fight without their Reaper Scythe, without their Finger, and they still did pretty good. So for IG, they got to be feeling pretty strong. And TongFu, they're going to have to hope that they get something better with potentially the next Relocate. Well, Wisp is farming up in this top lane. He doesn't have a partner nearby quite yet, but U9 could waltz himself on over. I have to agree with you. IG, they're happy to play things a bit more passive if they want, and if they happen to find some side objectives, maybe with these 2 supports like they've been doing, then so be it.
Yep. And, I mean, the Morphling has had this Midas for a decent period of time, so Ferrari's going to get really big over time. The experience is really valuable, not just the gold, because he does need those stats to play around with a little bit there. June will be under some pressure up top, but the big push, I think, is going to come down bottom. They've got a smoke if they want it, and they have the Observer Ward that is giving them some very nice vision on the bottom lane. Shinkyu oversteps. He's going to be the one to be drop down Reaper Scythe, and that's going to be taking him off the map for quite some time.
There will be the Relocate, I'd imagine. They're at his defense, so they'd have to get that kill pretty dang fast, which hasn't been the case previously, given the heal power that they clearly have shown. TongFu have been on par with being able to rotate and decide on when the appropriate defense is. So now they're able to secure the top tier 1 tower with the assistance of that overcharge, and well, it looks like it's going to be an end up a trade. IG rather able to secure the bottom tier 1. But they keep pushing here. They keep adding pressure. No one's really looking to bite quite yet on any sort of engagement.
Yeah. So Keon's going to go for a pretty tanky build here. Vanguard, Casual Cloak, and Treads. The Bristleback's not going to die in these fights. He's actually going to have so much sustainability. The Wisp doesn't even need to tether him to heal him back up because, honestly, he's just not going to be a point of focus. Like, he'll take some decent damage from the nearly maxed Heartstopper aura from Luo, but, like, they're going to have to invest a lot just to bring him down here.
You see Bristle, they actually caught him with the stun, but that's just a little too deep into TongFu territory when TongFu, a couple of them are missing, so this time they will not overextend, and they have to walk away. Probably hoping for a bit of a flimsier support. That was probably going to be going for the stack. That's not going to be the case. Now instead they continue the pressure towards the mid lane. Looking to secure this tier 1 tower. And, what with the armor, extra armor coming out now, they're feeling pretty strong. So they get their tier 1 and see if they get caught on the way out. TongFu's thinking about it here, but their initiation and this clockwork is not finding the target he wants. Actually, his hookshot was on cooldown up to that point, so couldn't even engage.
But yeah, they're just freebies, just going the way of IG. They're getting a lot of good gold momentum. But I'm curious what Ferrari picks up as his next item. You don't really go a Lincoln versus a Zeus Bristleback. You want to get some more damage out, and you don't really put much value in the active component of that item. So I would say probably just going for a Yasha, or could just go straight for the E-Blade. I've seen that too. So I mean, Ferrari has some options here, but they do need some damage because there's a couple of heroes that are nearly unkillable at this current stage. Like, unless they get the Scythe on the Shadow Fiend when he's already down to like a quarter of his HP, they're not going to get an easy kill. And other than that, it's just 3v1 movement across the map. But like we said, they still have plenty of time to work with. There's no real rush for them to find these kills, but you don't like to have a Bristleback on your front line. When he's level 11, with all this HP, he's a real beefcake, and you want to be able to work around that instead of having to kind of tiptoe.
Still would be nervous here, though, for LPC on his Wisp. It's not like he's really gotten a whole lot himself. Now he's level 8, so, you know, he's got the levels, but as far as farm and substance, he could be bursted down pretty dang quick if caught out. So we'll have to be really careful with his positioning. Bristle might want to get in and fight, but Wisp is like, I can only go so far, because by that point he's able to jump in on me, and my balls will be crushed, to be frank. So with that, IG, who I know that we've already seen bits of it, they know how to collect on finding what the appropriate target and objective is, even the heat of a moment. So they'll just continue their slow passive play as it stands right now. No inkling towards Roche really from either side, as maybe TongFu, it's something they consider, but you still have at least to get this tier 1 bottom and possibly the tier 1 mid before you have the space to comfortably move into that Roche pit and get it done.
Yeah, it's going to be TP top for the Bristleback. He's just going to ward off June so he doesn't get a free tower up top. He gets Q1 gets some nice farm out of this as well, but the action's going to be down bottom where they push down this tower. A couple of raises coming out. This tier 1 will drop very quickly, but with the fortification, I think they might look to contest it.
So Necro's here. Luo's on the scene. He moves forward. He's strutting pretty far forward here. Is it a bait? We're not too sure.
It is, but I don't know if they have the reinforcements. That hookshot goes through.
He's like, he's feeling pretty confident here, but I mean, maybe he's so confident. TongFu's like, maybe they have friends here because he is way too, way too in there. So I think that might have been an unintentional scare tactic or something, because TongFu pull away. They don't make the dive for him. I mean, it's risky to dive into with possible TPs.
Oh, really get up top.
Here they come. Bristle's going to be there, and then from behind, you see they'll do 9 to try to get Chuan. Chuan will make it away. The Raze is not going to be there, and he's gone out. And now they try to focus Ju. Ju does have Omni. Don't want to use it in front of these creeps, though. And he will walk towards the downward slope. He might have the Omni just to live. And all the luck. It hits Zeus for the most part, but he'll get healed up. He'll be fine. Ju goes down. And that was real bad RNG temporarily, but now you're going to see
It's like LPC's in No Man's Land 2. Does have the tether. Oh, no creeps tether too. If they get vision on him, he should die. But they're scouting deep, and they're not finding him. The Jukes come out in the tree line here. Finally, the Frost Blast, but he has the tether target now, and they can even look to maybe turn it with this movement speed advantage over Cheesebug here. In the end, they just ward them out of the territory. And, yeah, taking down the Jugger is pretty nice there, though they did miss out on the Lion kill in the end. But, yeah, it's going to be a fight down bottom. Ferrari with a BKB fresh, as well as a double damage run.
Now they make their engagement onto Zeus. Oh, my goodness. He gets taken care of immediately. That's your core farming Zeus on TongFu. So now, with that advantage, IG pressure down this bottom tier 2 tower. No problem following up their pickoffs with objectives. Make the move onto this one. Kabu may be waiting with the perfect hookshot, but he needs reinforcements before he can kind of do anything about it. Well, it's too late. Tier TongFu gets dropped, and IG will walk
Dire's
away.
bottom tower has
Will they,
fallen.
though? Bristle TP's in the last second, but they won't engage.
There's an interesting interaction with the ultimates of the Juggernaut and the Lich. They're very similar abilities, but one of them, it breaks down if you don't have a secondary target, and the other, it actually obviously has more focused DPS if it has a single individual. So it's a hard decision for TongFu if they want to clump in the fights, if they want to spread out. You can't just naturally go for a Ghost Scepter to negate Omni Slash, because then you're going to eat more damage from the Chain Frost. It's just not an easy way to manage against this. They have to time their attacks very carefully, and right now it kind of feels like IG are the ones with the jump potential. Like, they do have an Observer Ward down on bottom lane, so they will not be caught out there, but just with the Force Staff initiation, the Aghanim Scepter now up, I really feel that IG is going to start pulling ahead in kills. It's been even to this point here, 22 minutes. Maybe they'll pick up Luo, but they have to make sure that they follow through on this Force Staff.
They jump on forward. He does have the Force, but he holds out with the Cogs, and the Cogs get dropped later, and Luo's going to get dropped thereafter, but the RP, or the big Reaper Scythe, does get extinguished onto the Clockwork. Now, Slash flying through, but a lot of creeps there. They mech up thereafter, and TongFu are ready for a brawl. It's a one-for-one trade, but without their neck, bro, they have to heal and get the hell out of there. Oh no, Chuan gets stopped, and now he's got to run away. Self-earn, turns the corner.
Oh, the juke's not going to happen. They get the
we see ya. Yeah. There's a Thunder Strike, and with that raise, it's going to be U9 who picks up the kill.
But I have to say that was impeccable positioning in that fight from TongFu. That Bristleback Delta splits away from everybody else so that they can actually break the Chain Frost, and then they, as soon as the Omni Slash comes out, about 2 seconds later, they all clump up together and pop the mechanism, and he just can't do the damage to his target of choice. So that is actually really good movement to negate those two very high impact ultis, and they only lose a Clockwork, though, with the increased death timer of the Aghanim's Reaper Scythe. Anyways, it's going to be a TP down bottom. Not much left in the tank as far as ultimates, but still being pretty spooky just because this is IG. When they TP in, they know what they're getting into, and you have to respect them and back off.
And it's enough to scurry TongFu away. So they'll walk themselves up to the north and on out. But I can't help but emphasize even further the point you're making just about how the ultimates here on IG are working. And for a team to have to make quick decisions like that as far as split apart so that, you know, the Chain Frost doesn't really amount to anything, but they come back together for when the Omni Slash comes through and we can soak up all the damage and heal up. And they did it really well. It was just like, you put it in question how they're going to be able to do against it. Well, there's your answer. TongFu is definitely able to stay cool and collect, and these ultimates fly out, and if they have to organize a good shift between movement, they'll do it. So now, TongFu just kind of recoup from that engagement bottom lane, and they'll farm out in the woods. And for IG on the other side, they hold the top 2 network. Still Ferrari out in front on his Morphling. He's got a wealth of gold, and he actually opts to go for a BKB, which certainly does help. It's the Zeus after all, and maybe you just don't want to deal with that extra bit of burst.
Yep, there's a lot of frustration coming out. Maybe the close proximity Requiem of Souls, he's worried about waveforming into that. And yeah, the Zeus damage is very legit. But one thing that I think is going to be an even bigger pickup is Qon moving in towards a Pipe of Insight. Went for a casual Ogre Club, maybe turns that into a Halberd or a BKB later on, but I think he wants to finish this Hood, turn it into the Pipe, and that's where the fights get easier for TongFu. They don't have to worry about the Chain Frost. They just group up together with the Pipe, negate all that damage with the barrier, and then from there, they're feeling much more confident. Down bottom, the relocate will come through. A big kill here. Force Staff, will it be enough with the movement speed advantage? Faking the hook twice, but he finally connects.
Got it. Had to wait a bit to find the right shot, but TongFu get their hit and run opportunity. Taking down Luo, and this is Necrophos now 1-2-2. It's off to a bit of a slow start right here. He does have a good, respectable amount of farm, but TongFu are finding good opportunities to take advantage of this global presence, and now it's IG here looking for their own hit. They have the Omni Slash up at the ready here for June, but already on the way out is LPC.
Yeah. June hasn't been able to do as much this game. I mean, he does have the max healing ward, which is great utility for the team overall, but like the Omni Slashes just have not been that impactful as finding big kills here. But they will be able to push with the healing ward on the top lane here. If the waves being cleared out by the raises, and Q on top of the Pipe just to show him who's boss, force him back home.
Put their sights on Ferrari, but he already gets out of there. Goes right back towards his replicate, so just a little bit of that side pressure to keep TongFu spread a bit, so they can't really go into these team engagements that I'm sure they would love to be a part of. So they'll wait it out in the meantime for now, and well, looks like Ferrari here as he walks up towards the top. He is very, very rich, mind you. 3,200 gold feeling like maybe a Scotty he could consider here if he wanted to build up an extra bit of stats, but you also have to consider all that minus armor that TongFu could dish out as well with both the Goo and the Shadow Fiend.
I'm going to go with the Ethereal Blade on the Morphling, and that, I mean, enables him to really put out the offensive potential. The BKB, it makes him almost unkillable. Like, it's so, I mean, he doesn't have a TP scroll, so there is still some chance for things to go poorly, but as it is, when you have Ice Armor and BKB, as well as so much potential strength to morph, you have to just invest so many resources to bring this guy down. Instead, he's probably just going to be able to maneuver throughout any fight that he desires, and do a lot of work. But with his Ethereal Blade, he finally packs a punch too. Not only near immortal, but now actually a Slayer as well. Ferrari can actually top off the Zeus, the Wisp, very, very quickly.
TongFu are happy to kind of have Wisp and Wu9 side by side. At a moment's notice they need to, he will relocate them into the absolute heart of the battle, so he can just pop a BKB and a quick ulti, try to lead things in. But for now they split apart, and now pings fly out. Maybe Roche is on the agenda here for TongFu. Certainly can probably get the job down with the amount of damage they've built up, but IG are nearby and in the neighborhood here, and they could always look to contest. I mean, that congestion in that small area by the Roche pit is just a potential beautiful setup for a good Chain Frost and even Omni Slash.
Bristleback fighting his own mirror image there. The Replicant goes up against him, and it's so damn tanky, he actually can't take away that kind of mobile ward. So that thing gets to live for quite some time, giving the Morphling some extra mobility on the map for 150 mana, and of course gives them the extra scouting tool. So they smoke up with that Bristleback Illusion. They can put that on the front line and it won't reveal too much, and they are going to go for a big Roche play here, but I think TongFu will look to contest. They've been scouting out a ton in this territory, looking for wards, looking for anything, and actually look at this healing ward on the high ground. That is so cool. I haven't seen that before.
It's definitely going to be out of sight and allows them to get that easy bit of regen. This is a serious behind the back play, and TongFu don't look to engage. Waiting on the outside. Now they consider making it beautifully, but it's already been done, and Wu9 gets blown up immediately. And now TongFu didn't press on forward, but have they gone too deep? IG are having to turn it right back on their heads. And, it looks like the duo is going to be taken apart right there with the hook shot coming on through, and Swan take away that bit of mana. Ferrari on the other side, they're looking to catch up with their buddy Swan, but he gets taken down. Double kill now for your Bristleback, and it's going to be IG that are on the retreat here.
Yeah, they didn't actually have mana for the Chain Frost here. Using the mech cost them a ton of mana. He needs to sacrifice something, and he's going to go back to the lane and sacrifice, maybe look to re-engage, but everybody's pretty well topped off here on the side of TongFu. They do not stop the Roche from going down. They do not break the Aegis of the Morphling, but they do get a couple of kills, so it's not a total loss, but it's still a pretty heavy one, because I feel like TongFu needed this Aegis to feel more comfortable in ending the game within the next 5 to 10 minutes, which they certainly need to do. IG are going to be able to take this one very late, and every moment that isn't being pushed right now by TongFu is a loss of time for them. They really are just trying to catch up. Maybe they can wait for the Bristleback to hit level 16 for that extra damage from Warpath, but overall, they are on the clock right now, and that Aegis gives Ferrari an extra 5 minutes.
Yeah, they definitely don't want to allow Ferrari to really reach that critical mass where he could be too much of a handful. And with that, looking at June, he goes with the point booster here, so it looks like an Agnes build-up, which we don't see as of recent too much on your jugs unless they put a lot of value into the Omni Slash, which sometimes could just be a bit too unpredictable, but with that...
It's Perseverance too, though, so I really don't know. It's not the...
Two worlds right here.
He's going for the old Bloodstone, that's it.
Yeah, old school Bloodstone. Why not, right? But if with a big Omni Slash, could prove trouble here for LPC. His Wisp is going with the value Vitality booster, not getting a Ghost Scepter and playing it safe like Zeus. But hopefully it doesn't come to really bite him on the butt. He's got 1,200 life, but I think even an Omni Slash at any point will be able to take him down with relative ease.
Yeah, but the booster is definitely the most efficient item in terms of health per gold spent. Actually, if you have a Juggernaut on your team, it's really valuable to pick up that casual booster because you get the extra percent-based healing from the healing ward. But against him, he's just trying to tank up to some extent, but his armor is still going to be hurting him. It's good against the magic damage, though, and I think that's what he's the most worried about. Just he's worried about being Finger of Death and Reaper Scythe at the beginning of the fight, but we do have a relocation mid.
Hook catches on 2, and they do pop the mech, but he takes the Chain Frost to the low ground and trades his own life for that Lich. TongFu want to make more of this, and it's going to be Morphling who heads on out. Ferrari not going to have any of this.
He actually might get the rubber band on LPC. Yeah,
Oh,
he
back
just
and behind.
shotgun combos him when he gets sent back via relocate. They actually didn't even have the observer there. How did he even know? He must have just had the illusion sitting on it. This guy. But U9, BKB up, Mac up as well. Will not die to the Reaper side, but will fall in the end. Nice crits coming out from June. Now QAnon all by himself. He's a big beefy fella, and he's bringing down Luo. Maybe Ferrari too. Low on mana though, and he cannot chase further. The Aegis pops from Shin-Q, but they have to retreat.
Will they? Ferrari's thinking about making a move forward right now, knowing that probably this Bristle's awfully low on mana. Gets the Replicant just to put himself that much further. There is going to be the Sheep, but they opt to pull back. That quick blink, they won't get that. And now they might have overextended. At least Swan is going to have to be the sacrifice. He heads himself on out. Ferrari, oh no, that's my bounty rune, sir. Now he tries to go toe-to-toe with Kaboo, but he's got his own Ghost Scepter, and he, oh, wait for him out of the way. He's trying to walk on out, and I don't think he's going to do it. One more breakdown, gets it done. And he will drop. Morphling's killing spree is going to end, and he's picked up there from the Clockwork. TongFu get the last word in that long engagement.
Yeah, that was intense between the two teams there, just back and forth. And bringing on the Morphling is actually huge. I mean, he has been rocking a killing spree for a while. He has a ton of net worth accumulated, 18.6k to his name. So bringing him down twice, once with the Aegis and once actually killing him off, it is definitely something to boast, but still, I don't know if it gives them anything more because you need to take objectives behind their victories. And I don't know, the fact that Morphling is just getting some freebies, like I mean, that's play where he replicated into the enemy jungle. He had his replicant scouting out, sat right on top of the rubber band effect for the IO, where he gets sent back from whence he came. And I actually think that he's got to have some intense screen micro skills. The fact that he can actually look at his illusion and because it doesn't show like on the minimap any blip there. You have to manually look at where what you see via the replicant on your camera, and then look back to your hero during that team fight. We do see initiation.
Take a move right on the line. Get that quick kill onto the Lion. Mind you, they're still going to be doing this without Ferrari. Chain Frost going to be soaked up nicely there from the illusion, and well, they're able to right-click and take down the Jug. June will go down. And it's TongFu getting the upper hand once more in an engagement IG should have maybe reconsidered.
Yeah, I don't think this Juggernaut's doing much this game. Like, he threatened the Zeus enough that the Zeus had to go for a Ghost Scepter, but he's been doing a lot of work with the Healing Ward. But generally speaking, this Juggernaut just hasn't played out the way they wanted it to, and at least he was an offlaner. If they committed like one position resources and he did this poorly, then they would have a lot of trouble. But since they just have him as kind of a tertiary core, it's okay. But nevertheless, he didn't have the spin available there. And this Battle Fury build-up's pretty interesting. You were talking about before, it looks like he's going Battle Fury into Aghanims, and that's okay. But when you have two other core heroes taking a lot of farm off the map, even the Lion likes to farm like jungle camps and stuff like that pretty frequently. Yeah, I just don't know if he's really going to be able to accomplish much.
I don't know when they drafted up this Juggernaut, if they had intentions right off the bat of putting him in the off lane or not, but you can't help but feel like, and sorry, I can't remember much of the bans, but maybe something like a Faceless Void could have done the duty just a little bit more, having that extra Chronosphere effect in these big engagements. Ferrari certainly would have been able to add a lot from the outside as a Morphling, plus your Chain Frost, and well, we'll see. But that's a question for another day. They're making the best with what they got, and Jug prioritizing the cleave, I guess, will certainly help out his farm. And I guess it'll help remove Mantas from Shadow Fiend. Why not, right? So with that, we'll see if it's going to be more than enough. TongFu, though, already in enemy territory. You got Kamu leading the front. He's done a good job leading things in with that hook shot. He's got eyes out right now, but not finding a target.
Yeah, this has been like a very casual item pickup game. This is a casual ultimate orb from Luo. He wanted to go for the Hex, but realizes now he needs the BKB, so Luo will pick that up here at the 35-minute mark. There's also a casual point booster we talked about that'll be in Aghanims later. There is a Kabu having a casual point booster. He wants that Ags, but it'll take a while. And then the Vit booster and Plate Mail on LPC, just getting as much effective HP against the Omni Slash as possible. So it's not bad, but it definitely, you wonder about their slot efficiency and their progression from this point forward. Where are they going with these items? And right now, there's no clear time where they're going to be able to pick that up and make use of them. But anyways, yeah, as far as you were talking about the draft, the Juggernaut...
Ooh, long jump in. Move forward, Kaboo could be in trouble. Gets the shotgun to the face, but he soaks it up easily with the assistance there of Wisp, and they continue to scout out and see when Roche is going to be there. We'll find that timer out momentarily, but it looks like it potentially could be a long one to the unfortunate side of TongFu.
Yeah, but the Juggernaut pick was a first pick for them. The Faces Vogue was not banned out, and I think the Lich wasn't really in their game plan originally. It was kind of they called an audible once they realized that there were, you know, a lot of heroes that were going to be clumping together. They needed a little bit of extra durability against the Bristleback with the ice armor. And in general, I mean, it was a great pick, but it probably wasn't in their original template for this draft. So they probably, like, if they had planned the Lich out, they probably would have gone with the Void early. But instead, they just took it off the table so that TongFu couldn't pick it with their first pick. And in the end, June did do decently in the offlane. It's just not the game changer they want it to be. But I don't know if the Necrophos could be in trouble here. Taking a lot of hits, 4-stab forward, pops the Reaper Sight onto Kabu, off with his head, and he pops the BKB to disengage.
That's 3 ults for a Clockwork and a lot of hate. Now Luo's trying to walk away from what he's already done. He'll get the heal, and everything is popped up, and now they consider a re-engagement here back towards TongFu's side. Knight's already going to be on the way out with his TP. They won't scout him. He's going to be gone, and Bristleback will just run himself on home. So it's TongFu who lose their one casualty, and with that Scythe, Clockwork out for that extra 30 seconds. He's going to be in the ground for quite a while, but we'll see here. So IG get the better of that, and you know, we have seen plenty of the Lich Morphling combos in mid lane, so maybe just kind of making best with knowing that they're going to commit to the Ferrari Morphling. Now they're reaping the benefits of that good fight, and they move into the Roche pit, and they'll be able to secure an Aegis, so it's not that long of a timer after all.
Yeah, and with the clock down for so long, I mean, he can't buy back, he has the increased death timer. The Roche is a freebie for TongFu. Another aspect of the team fights is if they live for more than 12 seconds, if LPC uses the relocate to engage, if they live for more than 12 seconds, that Wisp is out of the fight because he gets sent back. So what that means is if you get a Reaper's kill on anybody and you live 12 seconds, you are automatically in a 5v3. And that just bodes really well for IG at this current state of the game. Luo is getting really farmed. He's going to have that Hex pretty soon, and I don't know if TongFu can actually win fights and break the base at that point in time. Maybe with Qon's AC, but that's been a long time coming, man. He's got 179 CS, not too shabby, but he's still only 4th in net worth.
TongFu need to find a way to find the farm, because right now it's just, if you look at their inventories, as you pointed out before, it looks like it's just a bunch of scraps between a bunch of different items. A point booster here, a couple plate mills there, adds a bit of extra substance. Uh-oh, that could be in trouble. Finger flies out. Reaper Sight to follow, but relocate. Selfie's going to be out of there, and they get the return kill there on Chuan. Better safe than sorry, says LPCs. Brings Shadow Fiend all the way back to base to heal on up.
Yeah, that was a kind of a gimmicky play. They just wanted to take people off the map for more period of time, but U9's pretty big. I mean, he has a lot of effective HP, and with the Wisp, that's just not going to happen.
Now, Ferrari pressuring mid lane here. Does have his good edge heal free card here.
Midas.
Oh, there he goes. Now he comes in from the backhand side, sees Wisp again. The Wisp is still good. Actually shoots up to the high ground. Ferrari wants to get him, but now he's gone too far, and they converge onto him. Oh, wow. Wisp gets the last laugh, and it's the Aegis.
Twice?
Maybe. They're considering it. Oh, my. Timing just absolutely shat on his head with that one. Ooh,
didn't even have a chance
9.
to wave for him. They actually ground target the lightning bolt, so it hits him. Like, you're obviously, like, lightning bolt used to be a spell that you could only cast once you see the target, but he ground targets it, so he begins the animation on respawn, and the mini stun cancels any cast animation to try to waveform out. Combining that with the Requiem of Souls, and that is one dead Morphling. Because he had Aegis, generally speaking, you're like, okay, well, I can play very heavy into my agility. He's got only 3 strength, but now in mid.
Oh, nice jump into the top, zones him back, but that forces U9 to soak up a lot of damage, but the Manta will soak up the more of it, and now they converge back. They take down the Lich. Reaper Sight flies out, will finish off that Clockwork once more, but now they have eyes for Luo. They move forward. BKB's going to stop the goo, and he'll be able to walk his old man ass away from that one, but it's still a 2-for-1 trade. Ferrari's still out for 30 seconds, and now TongFu are going to be able to take this tier 2 tower.
Maybe. I mean, the respawns are coming pretty soon. The fortification comes out, and they're being drained pretty heavily from these auras. The Heartstopper aura, he was actually a mana drain directly on Qon, and with that being maxed out, he has less to work with here. This is actually pretty dangerous to push. I kind of feel like they need this tower, but it's just too risky, and they will back off. They still got a lot done during the Morphling's death. That was something that IG were not prepared for. They were not prepared to fight without the Morphling, and Obviously, Ferrari wasn't prepared for a max damage Requiem of Souls. He's still rocking the 3 strength and 148 base agility, and that's all well and good, but yeah, he has to be very careful about how he engages from this point forward. He can't just say, okay, I can trade my position to try to kill a Zeus. He almost got the Zeus, but the Ethereal Blade debuff meant he couldn't auto-attack him, and Zeus gets to blink out. So that, it's just, Ferrari has to play more passively. He likes to make plays like that, and often it pays off, but in this case, it's just too risky.
And LPC on the Wisp is like, you may mock my inventory, but now this value Vipe Booster and piece of plate mail look pretty damn good. I was able to survive the onslaught of Ferrari, and it was just enough for his team to just jump onto Ferrari's head, and no safe way out. TongFu now taking the reins back a bit. Still a big IG lead of about 5K in terms of net worth. TongFu won't be able to hold on to the momentum. They had a bit of pressure here in the top lane, but now IG are all back and in full force. This might change their play a bit. It's a bit over-aggressive there, so we could see IG go back to that passive play a little bit more.
And still, I think that when this AC... Oh, he went for Shiva's Guard. I mean, that's good against the Omni Slash, reducing the amount of attacks he gets during it because the attack speed reduction. And I would say that's about it. I actually think that AC would have been, like, much better choice, but they still will try to close out the game with this one here. It's still a big, high value item, but without the AC, I don't see them breaking down towers fast enough. They have the Presence of the Dark Lord for heroes, and a great hookshot.
Oh man, set up with a nice ultimate. He throws up the different Omni Slash, but when the reload get in, they're happy to soak in all those slashes. Now June is frantic to get away, but he has really no hope on getting on out. They slow him down with that Shivas. And with the Goose stacking up, June will go down. Very nice hook shot coming out there. Oh man, TongFu get another good grab.
Oh no, how do you feel about the Shivas? I kind of feel like Kabu has enough chase since he's going for Aghanim Scepter pretty soon. But I would have preferred the AC, obviously, but do you think
armor, I think it's just absolutely ridiculous. Plus, when you eventually want to go for those objectives, it certainly helps in being able to break the base. I don't know, you have Morphling here. I think you need to put all the Midas armor if you can. That's why Elder Titan was typically such a popular pickup against him. So we'll see. They'll make the best. The Shivas is slowing. Well, they got that replicate pretty well, and they'll pull on back. So
yeah, you can't doubt if they start winning a fight that they're going to be able to kind of snowball that momentum because they have the Scotty, they have soon the Aghanim's hookshot, and they do have this Shiva. So they're going to be able to chase extremely well, but end of the day, I don't think that actually wins them the fights against heroes that are just too damn tanky. This Morphling is getting huge, and he is just going to be able to like 1v3 very shortly if they don't do something about him. All he needs is lifesteal at this point. If he goes for like a Satanic after he either sells his Aquila, yeah, probably the Aquila, and then sells the Midas. And yeah, Helmut Dominator even probably will tip him over the edge where he's nearly unkillable. But if he gets the Satanic, he will win the game.
We'll see. That seems to be what will develop here. It's now IG regroup towards this mid lane. They are lacking significantly in the vision department.
Oh.
They have to TongFu to jump forward. Get the catch on the Rune 9, followed up with a replay cycle. They finish him off. No help is going to be coming on forward. Even to get the Chain Frost for that one, a big grab, and Shadow Fiend out for over 100 seconds. Deleted from the game. That's an Aghanim's replay, mind you. So IG now parade themselves down the mid lane. This could be a big siege onto the base.
Well, we have BKBs on cooldown for a couple of heroes here, Q-On being the most important one. Bristleback isn't going to be as confident going in. He still has the pipe and the Shivas though, so damage isn't going to be his issue. Just being controlled, being hexed, being slowed, not being able to kill spray. It's going to be a problem. And yeah, I think this is where IG just march in and take a mid-Rax. I don't see any way they can hold this, but they certainly will try.
They pop out the Shivas any chance they can to slow them down bit by bit, but the focus is there. And Ferrari's already unloading onto that, and now he moves on to the Bristle. Says, nope, I'm going to go back to the 2-3. Could be a good grab. There goes KotLGuy, looking to separate a bit with the Cog. Goes right on forward and eats a full Omni Slash right before the 3-play pops up, unfortunately.
He wanted to force himself out. He was just trying to delay, force that out, get another hook shot in like the 8-second cooldown.
What's going to be happening though, and that could cost them a lot as their mid lane Rax will go down. IG, man, oh man, they already pulled off a nice upset, taking out
Reaper Sight is back up. They could just take another person out of the game.
It's going to be Bristle if he wants it. They lower him enough. He can't get close, but Force would certainly help.
Oh, relocate!
It will save him for now, but damage. It's already being done. Now bottom lane being harassed by the tier 3 swap, and now they go on to the Rax. It's going to be a 2 Rax takedown, and I feel like I've already seen this today. At this point, TongFu, how long can they hold on being already so wounded? I feel like this is a lineup that they were supposed to get a lot done at this point in the game. IG had the late game secured, and now it's already easier than ever.
Yeah, and you just look at that graph. Like, it's been, there were multiple chances for TongFu to pull ahead. Around the 34-minute mark, they had this huge experience lead, but they just immediately lose the fights, and they just can't actually finish it off. Not a single tier 2 down below half HP. I mean, they just weren't able to break it, and they had a lineup that could go fight really well until about 45 minutes, and then one pig-off cost them everything. I mean, the Hex and 4-step up on Luo, the only thing that saves you at that point is relocate, and yeah, you only get one of those. So in this position, it's just too much to ask for. TongFu, they are outgunned.
So we'll see. They want to hold on. And IG, if they want, they could always go for Roche. I'm sure they're pretty confident in their team fight, and they will scout it out here. And they take the safe road, like we saw previously when actually it was Rave taking on TongFu. They were in this similar position, but they wanted to make sure they can finish the game out, and they waited out for the Roche, got their ages, got the job done. We're going to see a bit more of that here. A lot on the line. So getting a big start in the group stage, a nice 2-0 record to put IG in. Just enough to build in momentum. Easy pick. TongFu, what do we do? You go for an all or nothing kind of defense.
Yeah, all or nothing, definitely.
Jump in. Did he grab it? He did, and he tries to force himself up and above, but he puts himself on a pedestal for death as they follow it up with a finger and a Reaper's Sight. Now, Ferrari dives on forward and is happy to take on the heart of TongFu. Pipe already pops. Blue 9's going to be okay. Pops out the ultimate with the waveform back. Is going to avoid the extra bit of damage, but here comes that Chain Frost. Pipe already out, mind you, so he tries to soak it up, but they do drop that Shadow Flame. Now they go for Beyond. Bristleback's going to be down, and I imagine the white flag will be raised momentarily here for TongFu. There it is. Cabu says it's over. IG, they look really, really strong here. 2 wins for them already in DAC.
And the Tricore of IG is just one thing that you have to play so tempo against. And I definitely liked the opener there, the Wisp Bristle, and I thought that there was a lot of potential there. But, I don't know, babysitting the Shadow Fiend, allowing the Bristle to do some work but not sufficient, it all came down to the fact that they just didn't have enough pressure on towers. Zeus and Clockwork was their top lane. Neither one of those really doing anything as far as the push goes. They can wave clear decently, but as far as actually taking objectives on the back of that, you look at other heroes. The Troll was banned out, so obviously that wasn't an option for them, but just finding something that can take a little bit more, maybe a support Jakiro, something else to follow up any successful fight with structural damage, because as it was, IG, they were able to drag the game out, they were able to get some really clutch kills and some really cool plays, and they take this one very deservedly.
So props to IG. They continue their undefeated streak early on in just the first day of group stage action. TongFu, they go down 0-2 now, and we'll hopefully shake this one out and bounce back. So we're going to wrap things up for this match. This was our 4th wave, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, 4th wave of matches. We're going to be going on to our 5th one now. We still have 9 matches total to come. Blaze is going to be sticking with me in our next matchup, and you can show your support to him by going on the Twitter and catching him over at Blaze Casting, myself at KotLGuy. You can also follow your channel here, but be sure to stick around. More Dota coming up. Our next match here on Beyond the Summit 2 is going to be Cloud9 taking on CDEC. This is going to be a good one. We'll be back in just a moment.